Adoption of final 2024 regional transportation plan.
Board Member Connolly, audio is not working for that first item, so I'm not sure if there was public comment on Zoom about the fare increase.
Oh, is there any public comment on Zoom on the fare increase?
Yes, John Stumper.
Muted.
He's not muted.
There's mute right there.
That's you muted. So you can tell him that.
Don, you have to unmute yourself.
Okay,
There you go, we can hear you.
thanks. Sorry I can't be there in person today. So I want to first say what I said in the 2013-14 fare increase process is that the passengers would much rather see a fare increase than a decrease in services, and the possible curtailment of the 40 and 41 is a big concern. So as regards the fare box recovery ratio, we're certainly happy to do whatever is necessary to ensure that this service is continued. But I do want to tell the policymakers what a fellow passenger recently told me, in that it's only 85 cents with token transit, in that the 2.5 years during which passengers were supposed to show a discount ID card to get the discount fare, I've never seen that happen. And additionally, the drivers don't particularly care whether you're paying a local fare for a regional route, for example, going northbound on the 20 out of Butte County Public Works. So there are certainly other ways to ensure that the fare box recovery is met. a little bit bitter about paying significantly more than the less ethical passengers next to me. But again, $2 for the local route and $2.50 for the regional route is within reason, even though the actually adjacent transit services, both Yuba Sutter is $1.50 local and $3 to Wheatland and Brownsville, $4.50 to Sac. Glenn County, which connects to us, is $2 within county and $3 outside of county. Staff failed to mention that, but even so, I think that the fare increases that are proposed are reasonable, and as a frequent passenger, I am willing to pay these prices.
Thank you for the kind comments. Any other public comment on Zoom?
No, public comment, but John, is what he's saying, I'm understanding is the drivers aren't asking, we're just automatically giving them the discount.
I think he was referring to our discount fare eligibility cards. That his comment was that maybe drivers aren't asking to see the cards when a passenger boards.
But they're not extending that to everybody that's riding the bus, but maybe somebody that they didn't know that rides the bus regularly and they're just not asking to see it. So, okay, just want to make sure that it wasn't being extended to everybody automatically.
Guidance on the discount fare for drivers has been that if someone is physically disabled or elderly, then they do not need to ask for the card. The card is also, or that discount is also for those who are under the age of 18. So if a 10-year-old's getting on the bus, they don't need to ask for an eligibility card. They know that they're eligible. But if there is any doubt, we do have many riders of the system who have the cards, and the drivers are asking for them.
Great, thank you for the clarification.
Okay, just to make sure that we're covered here, is there additional public comment, and I'll entertain a motion. Item again. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next up, number 6 for action, public hearing and adoption of final 2024 regional transportation plan. Sustainable community strategy and certification of final supplemental environmental impact report. Chris.
Thank you. Good morning. Yeah, the final 2024 regional transportation plan / sustainable community strategy and the supplemental environmental impact report are complete. They're available on the BCAG website, and we provided a link in the agenda item. So public hearing is required to perform prior to adopting these documents to receive final public comment. So we're requesting the board today hold a public hearing and then approve the final 2024 RTP SES and supplemental EIR via resolution number 2024/2025-0. And the resolution also includes a few things that are required via CEQA, which includes the summary of CEQA findings of fact, statement of overriding considerations, mitigation and monitoring and reporting program, and then also the federal air quality conformance. And so you may recall, I think at the September meeting, we reviewed the draft documents with that meeting, and just kind of went through the details of both documents at that time. And this was during the 55-day public review period for the draft RTP SCS, 55-day review period for the draft SCIR. Those review periods both closed in November. We held a virtual public workshop in October as well regarding the draft documents. And so during this review period, there were essentially no public comments received on either document. We did receive comments from Caltrans District 3 specific to the RTP SCS. For fairly minor comments, we made a few edits to the RTP SCS document. We've included 2 versions of that document on the website, one clean, one track changes. So you can see that's really all that's changed since we brought this to you in September. And so, with that, we're requesting the board open this public hearing, final public comment, and significant received and move forward with approving both documents via the resolution.
Any questions or comments by board members? Open the public comment period. Any electronic? Anyone online? Speak on this matter? Seeing no hands. We'll close public comment. Wishes of the board.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Number 7, 2025 unmet transit needs process, Butte Regional Transit public hearing. Victoria.
Morning, board. As we brought to your attention last month, at the last meeting in October, it is time for the annual review, the formalized review of the unmet transit needs process, and where we solicit comments specifically throughout the community of perceived unmet needs for the fixed route system. At the last meeting, we opened the 30-day comment period, and at the end of that comment period, it's necessary to have a formalized public hearing as a final solicitation push for comments before we pile our results and actually determine whether there are unmet transit needs that are reasonable to meet. So I'm asking you today to open that public hearing and see if there's any final comments about public transit in Butte County.
Electronic comment? Anybody online want to talk on this?
60% of
There's a hand up, John.
So I wanted to once again say that there is legitimately a need for transit further north than Columbine. We expect that it will not be found reasonable to meet, but we do want to remind you that there are people up here in DeSabla and Sterling City that have very limited access. For example, there's a jury summons in my mail today, and it's very awkward to try to get down there in time for jury duty. And that same situation occurs for people who are further up the hill than me. I also wanted to say that the December 2018 schedule in the wake of the campfire says that as conditions change, additional runs will be resumed. And specifically, the direct route between Oroville and Paradise might once again be reasonable to meet, even if it wasn't the last time you went through this process. That as town of Paradise has repopulated, there is a greater passenger base that might justify restarting the Route 31. Again, for passengers in Paradise and Magalia who have business at county facilities, it's very awkward to make these transfers, especially southbound, and having the direct route that used to run resumed would be a tremendous alleviation of the burden on us. So I wanted to put both of those in your records for this public hearing today. Thank you.
Yeah. See no other hands. Close the public comment. Entertain a motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Under number 8, which is Sustainable Community Strategy Statewide Coordination Request.
Good morning, board. This is an information item tied to the item number 6 that you guys just did with RTP and SES. So I think last meeting I had informed the board that we at BCAG were signing off agency and Shasta agency, 3 small NPOs to get engaged with and have a discussion with CARB, particularly on how sustainable community strategies are developed. All 18 MPOs in the state have signed on to a similar letter. The 4 big Southern California, including Pickoff, signed on to a letter. The Valley, Cogswell. So everyone's in this unanimous support of engaging with the CARB and beginning to look at what types of things do need to change so that when we develop these sustainable communities as part of these RTPs, that we're able to develop them in a way using criteria and methodology that is both useful and effective. So since that time of the last meeting, there have been, Shasta is acting on behalf of all three of the small ones. They're every few weeks. There's some meetings going on with Barb and Alsta and Caltrans, and they're talking about just these things of how can we move forward, or what needs to be done in order to make the whole process. And what's becoming kind of clear is that CARB is very, very straightforward in setting their ways and saying, we have a mandate to meet legislatively. We're not outright saying this, but it sounds like there is a level of unwillingness to listen to MPOs and suggestions that are coming forward as to how we can meet these targets and goals. So there's ongoing discussion with it, but I feel like where this is probably going, and I think CalCog is also on board. That's the statewide organization that we all with. It's probably moving in the direction of determine how does it need to be written in a way that actually do some. No one disagrees that the SB 375 and greenhouse gases is a good thing to look at and pursue. It's just that the criteria and methodology that we have to work with just not very useful, and puts us in a difficult position, having to exhibit some level of authority over the local jurisdictions that really have the responsibility and development. So SB 375 was a well-intended, but very poorly. So this is just information item for you. I'll be bringing this back as we go along, probably in the first quarter of next year. We might see some more movement that's a little bit more, might need to be a little bit more aggressive and board-informed decision-making as to what the region is comfortable. That was just an information. If there are any questions on,
What's the enforceability of SB 375? Like, what happens when you're not meeting your goals?
Brian's been in the trenches on this. I think he's okay.
Yeah, so if we were to not meet our targets, the only repercussions are we would not be allowed to get some of our SB1 money that's allocated to us annually. Right now, it's about $180,000. They're planning funds. And what we really do with those funds is use it to prepare the SCS. So we would not be eligible for those funds. Yeah. So, yeah.
So are there, other than BCAG, are there any other, so, you know, it comes down to the planning, the county or the planning in cities, jurisdictions. Are there impacts financially or otherwise?
As far as I know, no. Some projects may be ineligible for some CEQA streamlining, which to my knowledge has not occurred in this county. There have been no developments that have taken advantage of the CEQA streamlining associated with SB 375. Yeah.
Any other questions? Public comment? Online, anybody got their hand up? I don't see any, so, we're gonna skip one, we're gonna go to 10.
Yeah, I'm asked to bring 10 forward ahead of 9 just because item 10 is kind of falls along the same lines as air quality and SCS, RTP. So I think I'd also inform the board that the cap and trade program in California, which is particularly large and funded pretty well, the Transit Intercity Rail Capital Program, TIRSIP, and the Zero Emissions Transit Capital Program, ZETSIP, are two funding programs that allocate funds to all of the regions statewide. Our allocation was for about $23 million. It for us is a substantial amount of. We originally went into the program and July, we received half of it. We went in with two projects. One was the North Valley Rail project, and the other one was our development of our hydrogen program. The rail project, communicating with San Joaquin's, which is kind of our partner on this, we decided, or I really felt like, and they agreed, and I also had some communication with James Corliss down at BCAG that it isn't really the best time for us to move the North Valley project forward right now, largely because all of the projects moving forward in the rather large investment going on in the Sacramento region, Sacramento Valley, all the way down Southern California and high-speed rail. All those projects are either just moving into construction, schedule and some overruns in budget. And our particular project, it is not really far enough along to engage the kind of attention that we need from Union Pacific and some of our partners to be on board with us to move it forward. So it's not going away, but I feel like it's going to be a few years at least before it comes forward back again. When all these other projects start moving forward, it'll make sense to pursue. The question is, what do we do with the funds that we have in hand? I feel like we should do something with the funds. So what I'm proposing to do, and we're going to get clarification from CalSTA, because we'll continue to pursue the hydrogen. Makes good sense. We'll have some more positive steps in January. Now, what I'd like to do is we had done a study for a commuter type service down to Sacramento. And I feel like the need is still kind of there for something like that. So I'd like to move forward with developing a potential program that gets a commuter type service down to Sacramento, connect with Yuba Sutter, talk with them about it. They're on board with it as well. Maybe we're able to service the airport somehow. But I think we have a lot of good information in hand to pursue maybe a pilot program or one that's sustainable with these funds. And it fits the project description. So we can do that sooner rather than wait for the program. So this was just an information item for the board. The rail project is not gone. It's on the back burner now until we have a good, solid team of people for the partners and that focus on using some of those funds to develop a computer service. It wouldn't really be, an on-the-hour type service. We try to have to find times of day that work the best. If we can target downtown, and if we can connect, SAC-RT goes directly to the airport. If we can connect with them and get information item for the board, if there's questions about that or concerns.
When do we anticipate getting information about the commuter?
Well, we have a lot of good information already. We're gonna look back into it and see if we need any additional information, but it's a first quarter item. After the first of the year, we're gonna start developing. I hope to have a little bit more for you, but maybe by March, another kind of enough.
I feel like my concern about this is that when you do a study, you do, kind of feasibility on things, and then you don't actually launch the program, then all of that research and all of that work, if you wait 2, 3, 5 years, you have invested all of that money and then it's gone because circumstances have changed. And so that's my concern, is that we kind of jumped into this and we put funding behind it, and
the good part about it, I think, is we actually have the funds and they fit the program and the intent to use them. Typically, we don't have that. Typically, like you say, we we do a study and we say, oh, this would be a great thing to do, and then, oh, how do we pay for it? We have these funds in hand, we don't have to use all of them. Could be, be a $2 plus $3 million investment into the operation. How do we do the operation so that it's really something sustainable? What really makes me uncomfortable is going out with pilot programs, offering them and then saying, oh, we can't sustain them, so we're taking them away. That doesn't really do. I don't want to go into it unless we have a good comfort level that we can really do.
I'll just add to that, I think the rail study that we did is going to stay relevant for a while. I mean, we've identified the station locations. I don't think much to change there. Some of the track improvements as well. So I think when the time is right, that's still going to be pretty relevant.
How far off do we think we're gonna be financially, though? Right, of what our estimate was when we finished the initial study to if we wait 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about kind of walking through the developmental steps, right? So it's environmental design, full design, right-of-way, the construction. So obviously, construction costs will change as they go up. But as far as the project development components, that they may not change that much for environmental and design work. So we can't move ahead of our partners. The JPA folks that operate the ACE and San Joaquin, that's a major capital projects. Extend their services to Natomas, and they're not as far along as they'd hoped they'd be. Coordination that's required with UP staff, and they don't have availability right now also, so you have to kind of be patient, unfortunately. It's not what we want to do, it's sort of what we kind of have to do.
Typically speaking, the escalation costs every year that it sits, we're going to have to.
Well, that's a paradise, that's not what just happened in their sewer.
Yeah, that's historical.
Yeah, no, I know it wasn't meant to
Yeah.
you, but I would just make a small comment that as a fiduciary of our taxpayer funds, I'm much more excited about the fact that there could be potentially a service going to Sacramento that we could use in the next year versus sitting on money, waiting for a dream train that might get here by the time my grandkids are going. Probably not even that before I die. So, I mean, I like that we're at least putting it to fund and trying, and people do leave from Chico to the Sacramento airport every single day. And as much as I'm looking forward to having air service here someday, I'm skeptical that that's going to happen either. So, just don't wait too long, otherwise Bill's going to make us rechange the route over to.
That's right. Yeah.
So thank you for being creative and looking for ways to use the funds. And not knowing what's going to happen with the state of California budget, I'm not sure that we're going to be seeing a lot of influx of funds for these type of projects for a while until we get back.
I would agree on the commuter issue, but you might also have a chat with Orville Hospital. They actually run 3 buses back and forth of the day to Roseville, Sacramento every day. So it might be a nice reach out to get an idea of what they're doing. The only additional thing to the buses is they put on onboard Wi-Fi, so that the riders can, capture at least an hour of Wi-Fi time. I'd even suggest talking to Dawn Nevers. She's the new HR person for Orville Hospital. I'm sure she would be very interested in this discussion, the recruitment for folks, because hospitals reaching out supposedly 700 employees. I don't know where they're going to get them, but they had a bus ride from Sacramento to the hospital would be a big plus, I think. She should be able to give you some numbers and potentials.
So, one more. What do you do with a driver that, if the route's only every 2 or 3 hours, what do they do between?
Well, it could be sitting, or it's one route down at a specific time to bring people back. One bus isn't going to do probably 2 at least.
I know it's not as simple as it sounds.
It's not, no. That's the operational expensive side of it. And Wi-Fi is not cheap.
Airline's $150 a month.
And that could be a good option.
Yes, it really could.
Seriously, I travel with it on our RV and $150 a month and hardly ever lose service.
Well, the hospital buses leave Orville at 3 o'clock in the morning. I guess by the time they get down there, they probably need to rest a little bit.
I don't know how it works. I just know, wish they lived up here in Beach County.
True.
Okay, any more questions or comments about that? And any public comment on that item? No hands. Over there, okay, we're gonna be done with that, go back to 9, informational item number.
Yes, information item number 9 is for our triennial review. This is, the Federal Transit Administration in every 3 years and, inventories and does a process review of all funds, federal aid funds that come particularly through the FTA, all the projects. They have 23, I think it's 23 areas they go through. And this year, it was it's a very lengthy process. This has been going on. I just want to say that they did have some findings in 4 areas: in financial management capacity, satisfactory continuous control, procurement, managed business enterprise. The findings that come up a lot of times are really pretty minor. We don't really have anything that happens, but nonetheless, we had 4 findings. We were able to resolve all of them with simply providing additional documentation that we had. So we have a clean bill of health for the next 4 years, and FDA is happy with what our process review and how we're using the federal aid funds. So nothing detrimental to report there.
Any questions or comments? The board? Any public comment on this matter? So we'll move on to item 11.
There's a comment online.
Just, okay, let's have a comment then.
Hello, sorry, I'm Jesse Horgan. I am the Parking and Transportation Services Manager for Chico State University. So I had a comment about the previous item, which is that the university currently runs shuttles down to the airport, which are routinely packed, which are routinely full of students, completely reserved. So that's hundreds of students during the semesters, especially around the breaks. So there is demand, and coordination with the university and the transportation service could put more of those students onto a potential transit. So the university would support a study to see about adding that service. Sorry, I couldn't get in before the last item closed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse.
Sorry we missed you, which jogs my mind, and I think we should reach out to all the chambers of commerce, because it would be a way to boost tourism in each of the communities.
When you say the university would support a study, do you mean the university would financially support a study?
Well, yeah, so partial funding is an option. We do have some funding for alternative transportation. So that's a big focus of the CSU system, especially going forward. So we're going to be doing a transportation demand management plan in 2025 that's going to include some of these pieces: shuttle to the airport, shuttle to the train station, etc. So it's up for further discussion, but there is potential funding for a study.
Thank you for the good news.
For all that info, Jesse, that's great.
George Deeds.
I'd like to piggyback on that, what Jesse was talking about. So in 2000, I worked for Airport Transportation Service, where I did drive a lot of kids to the SAC airport. So the way that worked was we'd pick them up, we'd drive down there, and I'd spend 3 hours down at the airport, but I was looking for lost luggage. And so on the way back, I just deliver lost luggage as well. I don't know if that'll work out, but I know the airlines was paying Andrea for that. It might be something to consider. But yeah, when I was doing that in 2000, we got a lot of kids. So, I kind of agree with Jesse there. If you can work something out for that, or maybe make a little couple of dollars off of it. That'd be pretty nice. Thank you.
Hey, George, it's Casey. Are you looking for a job?
I can do it. Thanks, Casey.
Okay, so any more comments on the last item? We'll move on into item number 11, which is our regional transit marketing plan. Sarah.
The information item letting the board know we've selected a consultant to help us develop a marketing plan for Beeline. This is mostly to be promoting some of our new services, developing an updated logo, promotional materials, advertising, updating our brochures. And we had a kickoff meeting with the consultant a few weeks ago. Most of the work is going to be completed by middle of 2025, most of it occurring in the first and second quarters. So we just wanted to let the board know that we're doing this effort, and we're excited, and we look forward to keeping you all updated.
Where is Transit Happy out of?
They're out of the Bay Area, and they've done work locally. So they've worked with El Dorado County, and it's kind of their bread and butter to do transit marketing. They also have a sub-consultant on board that exclusively does marketing for transit, and then a graphic designer. So we're looking forward to working with that team.
What's the cost of this?
It's a little over $100,000.
Has been working for us for how long?
I think their contract, we have them on board through, I believe, the fall, but most of the work is going to be happening in the next 6 months.
Any other questions or comments?
I just want to point out, I'm glad to see that we're doing this, but I think BCAG does a really good job. I can't think of any community event that I have been to, whether it's, the Senior and Aging Fair or Thursday Night Market, where I have not seen Victoria or Amy, or there's just, I think you have a really good presence in the community, and I think that the outreach that BCAG does is great.
Appreciate that.
It's helpful. I mean, they do a good job to commit to go out there and it's really important that we do that because for non-emergency medical transport, that's not elderly people, microtransit, bring that service in, all that is good for us to be out there.
Any other board member comments?
I'm going to add to this. Monday, we had the orientation for the lineman college students. There are 242 students started that day. We got a demographic about the majority of the students are coming from the South Central Valley area, almost 80%. And so it looks to me that it might be an interesting idea for the students and their families to have a potential transportation back and forth, because students they're out. They're like $35,000 a student to get into that school. So any kind of thing that helps them with transportation would be a good thing. Just another potential for outreach, and that the lineman college is actually having a community outreach, I think, tonight, to connect to the services in the area, both Orville and Chico. So, in April, they're going to be going up to 300 students for that college. So there's more coming. I don't know where they're all going, but that college just keeps filling up in industry. So it's a potential down the road.
And no, they don't want to move to Chico. I'm watching. All right, any other questions or comments? Any of they online want to comment on this item?
I would like to comment just one more time. If the university can be involved with the outreach, especially to students. Last year, 3,500 Chico State students, faculty, and staff, individual riders rode the Beeline, and so we'd like to increase that if possible. And so part of that is outreach to new students coming in every semester. And so I'm the contact person for that, and we'd be happy to coordinate with the consultant and do outreach.
Do you currently do anything with orientation?
Yes, so we do tabling. I've done my first 2 sets of tabling, and then we have an alternative transportation committee which does outreach on events. So there's Earth Day coming up, and then there is like a sustainability month in the fall where we do tabling, and I made up posters about the Beeline that was for students, new students coming on. So we do some outreach currently for all new students, especially the first 3 days of each semester. But so far, our efforts have been sort of separate from the Beeline itself. And if we can all coordinate, that would, I think, make our resources the best use possible for them all.
Can I make a comment to that?
Sure.
Jesse, my name's Amy, and Victoria and I we do outreach, and I last year started kind of doing a coordination of overall for the year, and so I will be reaching out to you, especially when we set up our year outreach calendar. So I did a general email to all the contacts that we have and everything, so I'll make sure to include you on that this year. And I'll probably reach out maybe for winter semester start, or spring semester start.
Any other questions or comments, anyone? On to number 12. It's Butte Regional Transit first quarter 2024-25 report. Victoria.
Good morning, board. So I am here to present what the Beeline is actually doing over the first quarter of this year. So fare box coverage is doing poorly. So the increase definitely is supported that way. But we are noticing an interesting thing with ridership, where instead of what we've been seeing since COVID, where we have these steady gains in every system, quarter over quarter, 2 systems rose again and had those gains in ridership, and 2 of them dropped. So we saw a drop in ridership in rural paratransit and in the urban fixed route. There was a gain in ridership in the rural fixed route and the urban paratransit. So those kind of balanced each other out, and overall the quarter was fine. It was slightly lower than the first quarter of last year. And yeah, passengers per hour on the urban fixed route has finally, it's holding steady, 10 people per hour. Urban paratransit is rising. It's at 3.5 passengers per hour. Rural paratransit is at 3 passengers per hour. And rural fixed route is at 6.8 passengers per hour, which those are solid numbers given the decreases that we've seen because of COVID. So these are solid numbers to come back to. There were 5 valid complaints in the quarter, and there were no preventable accidents. So yay for safe driving. I'm happy to go over any of the attachments or to answer any
Questions or comments by anyone? Thank you very much.
Just gonna throw out there, I know that one of the reasons, problems on the rural, fixed route, was some of the antisocial behavior that was happening and being with ridership. How has that been going as of lately, and?
like social distancing and things. Are you talking about social distancing?
No, more, problem riders and and so for my instance, our urban paratransit is up because my special needs son is not comfortable riding the other bus because of some of the antisocial behaviors that are happening on the bus.
Staff and management have taken a proactive approach to making sure that problem riders are dealt with on an individual basis. in an effective way. We've been enforcing more of the suspension policy and trying our best to keep everyone safe and comfortable on all of the views. Good, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll close that item, and next up is, items from the floor. Any electronic public comment or general public comment? Anyone online like to speak for general public comment? Did I miss anything this time? Okay, then I'm not gonna go say we can't do anything. Okay, adjournment. We're gonna adjourn till, Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. Everybody have a blessed holiday season.
Just a little thought, maybe not do January, I'll let you know.
We might cancel January?
Possible. Make sure.
Oop, I didn't say that out loud, did I?
Yeah, I wanna make, if we have something we really need to do, we'll do it, but if it can wait till February, I might hold you up.